finally here. We talked about those super region mix-up, and this is kind of the slate for next year in terms of how these things get rearranged. And right away, Super Region 3 is going to be the biggest piece that people are going to look at. You take out the GAC, you take out the MIAA, you talk about some of the teams that get substituted out of that region, because that has been the talk of the last couple of years. I mean, the last four champions, Ferris, of course, being 3 of the 4, have come out of Super Region number 3. And so now the shakeup here, I think that's going to be the kind of the headlining piece. What else stands out about the new proposed Super Regions going into 2025?
Well, I can't help but notice, Corey, how long our graphics department went to work on this. I tell you, I mean, coming. I mean, this is a good 6 to 8 minute graphic that we created. But no, joking at ourselves. Moving past that, I agree with you that it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of GLIAC Northern Sun battles.
Agreed.
Which will be. I'm interested in some of that. There's going to be some of the most physical football is played in those two conferences in our D2 landscape.
Yeah, and we got a preview of that over the course of the last couple seasons with the NSIC losing Upper Iowa, adding in that non-conference game. And so I know a couple GLIAC schools have started to pick up, so we've started to get a little bit of a teaser of that. And geographically, it makes much more sense. The Northern Sun, the GLIAC, the really is like the, not to offend anyone, but like the true Midwest feels like is that Super Region 3, and geographically it rights a couple wrongs, in my opinion.
If we can just get Lake Michigan out of the way, it'd be perfect. But and then in SR4, I mentioned it last night on our show that I think this is now going to be the most colorful one, because you're going to have new matchups that we're not used to.
Agreed.
Like a Harding playing Angelo State. I like the sound of some of these, and yet they're still within, driving distance potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Or Ouachita Baptist playing against the, an Angelo State. I like some of those ideas. Then you bring in some of the MIAA schools with that, maybe a UCO going against Angelo or going against the Hardings. These are colorful new matchups that I'm all here for.
Agreed. And talking on that geographic piece, this is a breakdown from Reddit College Football of those proposed super regions. And this makes sense. Like, to my brain, this clicks together. There's not a whole lot of crossover between all the little colorful dots on the screen that they've put out so nicely there. And we got a pretty wide spread of D2 football, but it does feel like this, at least from just a general geographic standpoint, kind of hits it on the head.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit better. When you take a look very much north in my part of the world, South Dakota, North Dakota,
Yep.
Minnesota, we're so spread out that it's only going to do so much, if I'm going to be really frank there, Kobe. But at the same time, I really do think that this is going to help with some of that. And, the main goal, nobody wants to come out and say it, but the main goal, I'll say it, was breaking up, the MIAA from the GLIAC, and having the two of what has been considered the power conferences in Division II, not in the same super region.
Yes.
Now, Harding has all of a sudden joined that conversation with how well they've played, which has compounded the problem in SR3.
Yes.
So it's good that we have some things split up, and I think it's a positive step forward.
No, I agree with you. And your point about Harding, I think, does ring true, because I think initially when you talk about that quote-unquote problem, which it really was in the grand scheme of things, I don't think Harding and the GAC as a whole was a part of that conversation. Right. And now you look now in Harding, the seasons that they've had, it has not been, I don't certainly want to make it seem like it's been 1 year that the Bisons have been a part of the national picture, but they've just burst onto it in a way that I don't think anyone expected. Then you talk about Ouachita, and even a team like Henderson that was maybe going to have a little bit more of a chance to make some noise when it comes to the postseason. You talk about some of the most, those appealing at-large berths in the different super regions. So I'm excited for that. It'll be interesting to see how that Conference Carolinas conference mixes into things. Wouldn't expect to see anything too crazy out of that. But again, in that super region, maybe they'll have a little bit of a better chance compared to some other squads in that region.
Agreed, totally.